Jets at Cowboys. Look, it's a great matchup of defenses, but this was supposed to be, we mentioned in our group chat before, if Rodgers is playing in this game, it's taking over the entire show. Rodgers versus McCarthy. Rodgers and the Cowboys, they have a history themselves. But here we are. Zach Wilson is leading the Jets into Dallas, and the Robert Saleh said, I believe the exact quote is, I want to make it very clear, Zach's our quarterback. We have a lot of faith in Zach. We're rolling with Zach and excited for him. And he also said, I don't know why people in the media are trying to write an obituary for us. And I'll tell you why, Robert. Because you guys, you're screwed. Like, frankly, the fact of the matter was you had Aaron Rodgers to elevate you from the team you were last season to a Super Bowl contender so you could go against the likes of Josh Allen, of Joe Burrow, of Patrick Mahomes in January. I understand the week 1 game, but both you and I agree, Jack, that was sort of a fluke. You called it a miracle.
Yeah, it was God on their side on 9/11. That's what it was.
And we talked with a lot of Jets fans. You know, Andrew used to be on the show with us. He doesn't think it was a fluke at all. And how many times are you going to have Josh Allen have 4 turnovers and he have a punt return to win the game?
That would have been the worst game of his career.
It was just a really sloppy game from Buffalo. Now, I don't want to take anything away from the grit the Jets showed. That was an easy game to fold up, say Rodgers is gone probably for the season, and at least that's what you're thinking at halftime. Did you see at halftime Garrett Wilson went in? And Aaron Rodgers just said, I'm sorry, kid.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was crushing.
That was crushing.
That was just so sad. I feel so bad for Rodgers. But that's an easy game to fold over if you're the Jets. And when you're down 13-6, 13-3 might have been, they showed a lot coming back and winning that game. Now, Josh Allen helped a lot. But now we look we have to move forward. And they're playing in Dallas this weekend. What did we see with Aaron Rodgers when he was on the field? We saw him try and throw the ball 3 times, and each time he was under duress. He was under pressure. That's what led to his injury. This Dallas defensive line is better than Buffalo's. They got after Daniel Jones all game. That's what we talked about when we were reacting to Giants-Cowboys. Jones had no time to throw the football, sacked 7 times. I don't see it changing this weekend for the other New York squad. I think they're in a lot of trouble because that Dallas defense is going to be all over Zach Wilson, a young, probably not too confident Zach Wilson.
What do you think of no Rodgers, no problem? The Jets get down there in big Texas and get the job done.
Is the Super Bowl back on if they beat the Cowboys in Dallas?
I might say so.
If they beat the Bills and the Cowboys without Rodgers, is it?
Oh, I'd say why not?
Why not?
I'd say why can't they beat anybody else? Yeah. No, the truth of the matter is, as unfortunate it is to admit, when the dust settles and the smoke clears, if Zach Wilson plays the entire season under center, they're pretty much a carbon copy of what they were last year. A fantastic defense. They'll beat some teams. They'll probably win about 7 or 8 games. But they're not going to win these types of games against elite teams like Dallas, especially on the road, because the offense won't be there. Garrett Wilson's very good, but I think his ceiling's capped without Aaron Rodgers. Breece Hall, another good weapon, but capped with no Aaron Rodgers. All these guys are capped with no Aaron Rodgers.
And in the Buffalo game, it wasn't even like Zach Wilson's touchdown drive was moving down the field. That was the Josh Allen fumble.
Right, yeah.
You know, they got the ball in the close to the red zone and were able to put it away.
There's not enough there because, or it's unfortunate because there's not enough there at quarterback with Zach Wilson, whereas the rest of the team is ready to win a Super Bowl, and their quarterback can't.
And that's the whole thing about this is that they had the guy to do it, and it's just 4 snaps. My dad was saying, the way we look back on Chiefs-Bills as the 13-second game, you could probably look at this Rodgers. Like, I'll remember that the rest of my life from a sports moment. There are only so many moments in my life where I vividly remember the reactions to it. And Rodgers getting hurt 4 snaps in, especially if he winds up retiring, especially if he doesn't come back and have a season with them next year, it's just absurd.
It's crushing.
So real quick, before we talk a little bit about the Cowboys offense, is it a mistake? Ziggy said this in our group chat as well. You have to think it's a mistake from the Jets if they don't go out there and get someone else. If they roll out with Wilson, you just mentioned, we know what it's going to look like. We saw it last year.
Yeah, right. What's to really think, what's going to change? Like if this offense with Zach Wilson last year couldn't really do a whole lot and we were 7-10 and missed the postseason, what's really going to change? Because it's the same exact team. Really the same exact team, literally.
Yeah.
If you get a guy like Jameis, right, or somebody else, and it doesn't pan out, at least you tried something different. Like you gave an effort. But if you missed the playoffs with Zach Wilson, it's like, what are you doing?
And
this was the case last year.
Maybe Wilson, we didn't see it Monday night, but maybe if Wilson comes in and plays well against Dallas, like keep rolling him out. But we just don't expect that.
RG3 made an interesting point today. I was listening to it that he didn't want the Jets to pick up anybody and just went with Zach Wilson. Because if you pick somebody up, they have to relearn the offense.
Mm-hmm. And apparently Hackett's offense is really complex, difficult to grasp.
Right. So he was like, why would you go out and get somebody that doesn't know the offense, isn't going to do anything better than Zach Wilson can do, because he'll actually know the offense at least.
I'll tell you why, RG3, because they can throw the football better than Zach Wilson can.
Yeah, like Zach Wilson, I think this team has a ceiling of 8 wins again.
Let me read you some names, and you just tell me who you like. They could trade for these guys: Teddy Bridgewater, Jacoby Brissett, Andy Dalton. I mean, this is a list from a Jets fan that I was reading an article. Baker won't happen. Mitch with you guys. Winston, Kirk Cousins won't happen. Tannehill we mentioned Monday night.
I like Jameis, and I like probably Tannehill. I like Jameis the best because he's a little sloppy with the ball, will throw his picks, but I think the offense can score more points with Jameis Winston than with Zach Wilson. Like the ceiling is much higher with Jameis than with Zach Wilson.
I like it too. I wouldn't mind going after Jameis.
Like they'll put the ball in the end zone with Jameis for sure.
It would still be a mess probably, because we know Jameis turning the football over. Ziggy
He's sloppy.
mentioned it.
Yeah, he's sloppy. But he'll throw his touchdowns too.
As far as free agents go, Brady's not coming out of retirement. Joe Flacco, you saw him last year. I don't know why anyone's mentioning Joe Flacco.
Big Ben,
dude. He wouldn't even get up and down the field anymore.
Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck. No.
I also don't hate Mitch. Mitch had a 13-win season with that Bears team.
Yeah, I guess. Carson Wentz is there as well. All right, let's final thought here. This will take 1 minute. I am excited to see the Cowboys offense go against the Jets defense, because that Jets defense is as strong as ever. They look just phenomenal against Buffalo, except Sauce and Stephon Diggs. Diggs actually got the better of them in that matchup. Dak Prescott, I just thought this was an interesting stat. His time to throw in week 1 was 2.11 seconds. That was 0.21 seconds faster than any quarterback releasing the football from snap to release. And that could be important against the Jets defense that was getting after Josh Allen all night. I want to see how these Cowboys receivers do in their one-on-ones with some really good Jets cornerbacks. So that'll just be a fun matchup to watch.